So now we're going to do a step-by-step build of this circuit right here. We have the 74HC02 integrated circuit right there. I got it out of this kit. So I actually bought two of these kits, and if I ever show you the other kit, it's missing some of these. So some of these got fried, and I take them out of that kit and replace them in this kit. But I have two of them. It's really easy to fry these with like static charge or whatever. But in any case, we're using that one right there, 74HC02, and you can see it's the one that is missing right there. But yeah, you can see all these. I'm pretty sure you can't buy this particular kit anymore, at least not the last time I looked. So I'm pretty sure I have no way to link it anymore because they're not available. Now it's important to turn the power off, and again, to help avoid frying these integrated circuits, it's a good idea to discharge yourself, and I just touched the negative rail there. Otherwise, if you touch it, which you shouldn't do, but I'm going to right now, you could give it a static discharge or whatever. So now, as I mentioned before, the power supply is off right now, especially if you're working with integrated circuits like these. It's important you don't have power applied while you're wiring it up. We're going to give it the power pins right there. And so a positive supply, you can see it says VCC on the schematic diagram right there. When you see that with an integrated circuit, that means connect it to the positive side of the power supply. And then we got ground. So this is just a single supply integrated circuit, positive voltage in relationship to ground. And so ground is down here, 0 volts. It's the negative side of the power supply. So now, if you've watched my videos where I use integrated circuits like these, even some other ones, you'll see that we got a lot of inputs that we're not using. So the 74HC02 is 4 NOR gates. So that's the NOR gate symbol. That's the truth table right there. So we got 3 NOR gates that we are not going to use, and so we want to do something with their inputs. Always consult the data sheet, and the data sheet should say to give the inputs one supply voltage or the other. So I'm going to go to the positive supply with this one right there. I like to go to the negative so that it's the opposite of that jumper, but I needed a lot of jumpers and I lost some of my gray ones. And so I'm going to be a little more conservative with the number of gray jumpers that I use. So I might buy a component kit. There's some more that I kind of need, and so I might be getting more jumpers. I might take care of that problem. But we definitely don't want to put the output to a supply voltage. If you put it to the opposite supply voltage of whatever it's trying to connect to, that's a short circuit. So you just leave it floating, that don't matter. Now, we have 2 things that are going on, and which ones, I'm going to be careful I don't mess this up. So we got that little spot right there where you can't put a jumper, but these tend to go diagonally one spot. Okay, you know, it's a little bit longer. They bend a little bit, but not a whole lot. It's not too bad right there. And so we got that, and then now we got the negative side right there, that gray jumper. So I'll take some yellow ones and make sure I'm putting in the right spot to double check pin layout. Should always do that. So I could use the yellow and put them to the negative supply, but I like to try to keep a color code system where gray goes to negative and then yellow towards a more positive side if it's going to the power rail. So now let's get to wiring our output. So again, we're using this number 1 right there. Y is on top. Y for the output. You might see, I think it's like X or something for the output, maybe O. But it's Y for whatever data sheet I was looking at, probably. And so make sure I get this in the right spot right there. We're up there. Again, the power's off, and we don't have to worry too much about miswiring something as long as we fix it before we turn the power on. And then we got a couple LEDs. So always remember the band is the cathode right there. And that has to go towards the more negative side of the circuit. When the output is low, that'll be more negative in order to light up. So I got the shorter lead down lower. That's the cathode because I haven't cut them. And there's also a little shaved edge down there. Longer lead, the anode is up higher. And I try to work more positive down towards more negative. especially when I'm using LEDs. I can't always do so, but you know, I try, you know, to make it so that longer lead the anode will be above, the shorter lead the cathode below, but sometimes I have to go the other way. And then we got that 220 ohm resistor between the cathode and ground so that the red LED lights up when the output is high. So we got 220. I also got a 10K resistor on the board right there. And is that a 1K? Kind of looks like 100. So now I found my 1K resistor, and I was using this to protect the blue LED, and for a different video I was trying to get enough current to light that LED, and when I yanked the other resistor, I grabbed 100 ohm. So all the bands are black except for the 2 on the end there, so I know that's 100. So the 1000 has a brown band where the multiplier is, so I'm glad I caught that. So there we go, we got the 1000 ohm resistor right there, and if I turn the power on now, you're going to see the LEDs act chaotically right there. So that's because of stray signals hitting the inputs right there. If we had that happening with these three, their outputs would be going chaotic as well. And there you can see the blue LED just changed. My body was enough to change it, and so I saw the blue LEDs lighting up. So that's what I mean. This integrated circuit, it's really susceptible to stray signals and stuff. So best not to ever leave the inputs floating. Now let's do the Trimpot right here. So this is a Trimpot. It's wired as a voltage divider when it has the supply voltage across it. If we just connected one side, then it would be a variable resistor. But this input's just looking at voltage. We're not passing current through, so we want it as a voltage divider. I like to put these little 3 notches where the jumpers are, right there. And so it makes it so it fits a little bit better. They tend to go right into that notch. And again, we're not letting current in or out of the input, so we're going to go to B, which is down lower. Doesn't matter, just so long as you remember which is which, and I don't know why, but I felt the need to turn this down to ground. So B is the lower one right there. And this is a single pole double throw switch. That's what it's indicating. But when you get halfway, it's probably, well, it's got to be a break before make, or else you'll have a short circuit if it connects these two at the same time. That's a make before break. So instead of a toggle switch, I just got a little jumper simulating that. So I can make it where I switch to the positive supply, or I get about halfway where I'm not connected to anything before I connect to the negative supply. So I just use the jumper like that. But you could use a single pole double throw switch if you really wanted to. It would work the same. So in any case, that is it for us wiring it up. And since it is a NOR gate, that means you need one input high or the other input high. Let's set them both to low. In order for, it could be one or the other. If they're high, then the output will be low. But when you got both inputs low, as we got here, we're going to have a high output, 1. So it's going to be as close to 5 volts as it can get. And so we're going to turn the power on. And you can see red LED is lit up. As I said before, the red LED will light up when the output is high, connected as close to 5 volts as it can, right there. And again, if I leave this floating, then they're going to go back and forth. With the Trimpot as well, this is not a Schmitt trigger circuit, so it won't suddenly jump from one to the other with a little middle ground where it could be in either state. Instead, we can get it where they're both kind of alternating right there. Or it might be a middle ground voltage, but I think they were alternating. So yeah, we got a high input, and therefore we got a low. Doesn't matter if we got one input high or both inputs high. The output will be low. The only time the output will be high is if both inputs are low, as you can see there.